Thank you so much for tuning in today. You're listening to The Daily, and I'm your host, Amy Carlin. One of my friends recently shared a devotional address with me, and I absolutely loved it, so I wanted to share it with you. It was given at Brigham Young University for Education Week by Elder Lynn G. Robbins. Elder Robbins teaches us about how agency and responsibility are inseparably entwined. We are free to make our own choices, but we are not free from their consequences. I particularly enjoyed Elder Robbins' anti-responsibility list. He shared examples of each of these avoidance tactics in the scriptures, which was interesting. They include blaming others, rationalizing or justifying, making excuses, minimalizing or trivializing sin, hiding, covering up, fleeing from responsibility, abandoning responsibility, denying or lying, rebelling, complaining and murmuring, finding fault and getting angry, making demands and entitlements, doubting or losing hope or giving up or quitting, indulging in self-pity and a victim mentality, being indecisive, procrastinating, allowing fear to rule, and enabling others to avoid their responsibility. He explained, if the anti-responsibility list is so dangerous, why do so many people frequently turn to it? Because the natural man is irresponsible by nature, he goes to the list as a defense mechanism to avoid shame and embarrassment, stress and anxiety, and the pain and negative consequences of mistakes and sin. Rather than repent to eliminate guilt, he sedates it with excuses. It gives him a false sense that his environment or someone else is to blame, and therefore he has no need to repent. The anti-responsibility list could also be called the anti-faith list, because it halts progress dead in its tracks. When Satan tempts a person to avoid responsibility, that person subtly surrenders their agency because the person is no longer in control or acting. Instead, they become an object who is being acted upon, and Satan cleverly begins to control their life. As Elder David B. Haight of the Quorum of the 12 stated, a determined man finds a way. The other man finds an excuse. Now, it is worth noting that reasons and excuses are inherently different. We can give a reason for our actions while still accepting responsibility for them. There is power in taking responsibility. I have found that accepting responsibility is always the better choice. Once, I had placed a catering order for an event, and it didn't arrive on time. When I called to find out what had happened, the employee who had taken my order told me that the delivery driver was simply running late. However, when the driver arrived an hour later, she apologized profusely and asked if I had heard what happened. I hesitantly said no, and she explained that the order never made it into the system after I had called. Now, if the employee I had spoken with initially had been honest about her mistake, I would have been a whole lot less upset than I was when I learned that she had refused to take her responsibility and had instead passed the buck down the line to someone in a lower position than her. Let's choose to be responsible and let's act accordingly. As we accept the consequences of our actions, we will be prepared to make better choices and to constantly improve. If you would like to read or listen to the rest of Elder Robbins' message, visit speeches.byu.edu and look up Be 100% Responsible. Thank you again for listening today. The Daily is brought to you by The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.